Alright. Well, hello everybody. It is I, HPJ here, and I'm sure many of you are going to be happy about, well, funny enough, today's video is, well, because it's not a bad video, I just want to get that out there now. No, we're going to be doing my weekly podcast for you guys. So this is actually for the week of September 26th of 2025. But I've been very busy getting things situated and all. So I had decided to just wait a minute and focus on uh, basically everything else I need to focus on. Because there is definitely a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about for this week. And there's been so many releases, there's been so many positive things going on, and I cannot wait to talk more about them. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HPJ Podcast, and we're gonna start off probably with some personal stuff that's going on. Your boy is gonna be having some work done on his teeth once again. I have an appointment scheduled for Tuesday of next week. Well, I guess it would technically be this week because today is the 28th. So in about a few days, I'll have my um, appointment to go visit my doctor. No, to visit the dentist. Well, doctors are dentists. They just work on teeth instead of, other body parts. And we are definitely going to do some look at on my teeth and see how things are going. Even though I already know what's going on, and if I haven't basically been able to tell you guys what's going on, well, this is what's been going on. So my teeth had some issues. They were chipping away. There are a couple of holes in some of them. There's been some basically work that needs to be done for root canals and stuff like that. And I basically will have to have some. I'd have to have a dentist look at it, go through what's going on, and then they're going to assess things from there. Once everything has been assessed, and the money and stuff is together, then they'll start performing the necessary procedures. And I'm basically needing to have teeth, root canals, and capping is what the premises of things are. And it sounds very expensive, but luckily my coverage will cover it. But I only have a couple of days, and we need to have everything done before then, which I'm hoping, but I'm not guaranteeing. Otherwise, I'd have to redo the process. And they sounds like they want to help me get that situated. So they had a conversation with with my dental provider, and they're going to be working on making sure that everything is secure. Once everything is secure, then your boy can go ahead and focus on his teeth, focus on living my best life, and then moving forward. It's going to be a long process, I will say that, but it will definitely be worth it at the end. And I just want to let you guys know, like, if I have to step away for a couple of weeks to heal, or, procedures and stuff, me trying for me to process everything, then I will definitely do it, because I know it's crucial. I need to have my teeth. And, just with everything that happened a few years ago, I didn't want to go through the same situation and go through the same madness. So fingers crossed and pray for me, because I might end up having to do a GoFundMe just to keep things together on my inside. That way, if something happens with the procedure, I can at least have some type of leeway or some type of setup to keep me going. But I'll keep you guys informed of that. With that in tow, let's get into some positive notes for today's session, as we have two major franchises, video games, that came out over the week. Starting off is Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, the next installment of Sonic Racing games, recently just got dropped September 25th of 2025. And many people are playing this game, and they are enjoying this game. This game definitely is doing some really good marks. People have been playing it like crazy. There's been community days. There's been people doing live streams of them going through the different circuits and having it online. And yeah, it seems like a really big thing of fun. Um, Unfortunately, at the time, I had to decide to wait for the game because of financial situations in rent. So I decided to not go into the um, the Yu-Gi-Oh situation. So I definitely will make sure that you guys know that um, everything is secure, so you guys can understand of when that is. But I will be purchasing the game, but it most look like a mid-October purchase. I have like 3 games I want to purchase in October, and one of them actually goes out in October. And that's the Mario Galaxy 2 without Mario Galaxy 1, because you can't purchase both games individually. And that's what I'll be doing is I'll be purchasing them. I'll be purchasing Mario Galaxy 2 individually, because during the Nintendo Direct they did announce Mario Galaxy 2 will be um, coming out, and it will come out both with Mario Galaxy 1 if you want to purchase it as a bundle, or it'll be coming out on its own. If you've already purchased Mario Galaxy 1 because of the Nintendo, the Mario 3D All Stars thing, then I would just suggest getting Mario 2. Alright, Mario Galaxy 2 on its own. And the reason why I say that is simply because Mario Galaxy 2 is a fine game, but it does not need to be bundled with Mario Galaxy 1. If you're going to port the game, just port the game. And that's basically what it is. It's just a port. Just same way Mario 64, Mario Sunshine were all ported. We actually still have no idea of when Sunshine will come into NSO for Nintendo Switch 2, because they've definitely been dropping the ball on the Switch 2. But for Game Boy Advance games, they dropped like Miss Dig Duggar. Oh no, Mr. Drill 2, and I forget what the other game is. Oh, I think it's Klonoa. Klonoa got dropped on the Game Boy Advance NSO. And still no Pokemon, which we kind of figured that was never going to happen. Even though Generation 3 games have all now celebrated their 20th anniversary. So it really just makes no sense. Actually, it's 15 years for what was it? Emerald. And then, what's her name just celebrated its, but I think Diamond and Pearl just turned 19. And it's 18 for Platinum. Heart Gold Soul Silver just turned 15? Yeah, we don't know why these games came out in the time frame of literally a year to a year and a half between each other. So it makes a lot of people question, why is it so hard to drop the NSO versions of the Gen 3 games, let alone Gen 1 and Gen 2, so they can function with Pokemon Stadium? So it's just very, very weird, very, very stupid in a lot of countries. Maybe it's because they have to program Pokemon Home to work in conjunction with those, so that it can fit all the Pokemon that need to expand between generations 1 through 3. And even then, so what if later on they decide, okay, let's get Gen 4 on there as well, and Gen 5? It's gonna be a lot of work. Even though technically you don't have to do Gen 4 because Gen 4 had its remake with bringing Diamond, Shining Pearl. But even then, the nostalgia factor of people who wanted to play the original versions, why not give it that? Because the original games themselves are just as hell. So yeah, Mario Galaxy 2 coming out, and then Pac-Man World 2 Repacked is also out now. Now that is probably the cheapest one out of the 3. Pac-Man World 2, I'm sorry, Repacked is only $30 on its basis without the DLC stuff. The DLC stuff makes it $40. So it's $10 for additional content that's going to come out with 4 waves, while the Mario stuff is just expensive as fuck. And I'm sorry, I don't want to buy Mario Galaxy 1. I never finished Mario Galaxy 1. I even started Mario Galaxy 1. You guys just know how far I got with Mario Galaxy 1? I got to the first galaxy. I played through the bit of tutorial, and then that was it. I didn't beat the first. Did I beat the first boss? I did beat the first boss, and that was it. Anything else after that, I didn't do nothing at all. Well, I hope you guys think. And him was I don't have Joy-Cons, and I can't play a game without Joy-Cons. Ooh, this shit is strong. So, it makes it very, very hard to play with Joy-Cons. And, it's hard for me to play with Joy-Cons. It's very few games that I have on my Switch, that I had to play with Joy-Cons. And I already sold my Joy-Cons, actually. My brother purchased my Switch not too long ago. Which, if he sees this podcast, I do have your screen protectors, and I have some more of the cords. I did find when I was cleaning up the room. So, if you do manage to see this and you want the cords and everything, do call me, brother, because I do have them. I would call you, but I think you're at work. So yeah, or if you swing by the house, I'll make sure to give them to you because I know you need them. So yeah, he did get that, and then what other things is there? There's just a lot of the controversy about how the other, Mario and Sonic's racing games are right now. But I want to share some positive light on Pac-Man, because Pac-Man getting a repack of Pac-Man World 2 is great. If you never played Pac-Man World 2 on the GameCube, and I believe it was on the PlayStation 2, it's a really amazing game. Pac-Man, the ghost, the four-colored ghosts, Inky, Binky, Blinky, and Clyde. Was it Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde? Yeah, Inky, Binky, Pinky, and Clyde. Attack Pac Village at night, and for whatever reason, they steal the golden fruit that's attached to the tree and unlock this evil ghost guy that's now leading the pack. And they basically go out through these different areas in Pac-Land, and they are basically attacking in those areas of Pac-Land. And the people of the Pac Village need Pac-Man to save the day once again. So Pac-Man goes on an adventure through the grassland into the forest, into the ice area, and then into the volcano, all the way into the sea, and then confrontation on Spooky Island to deal with I think his name is Spooky? Yeah, I think his name is Spooky. Spooky Ghost. And he's the final boss of the game. And it's a very hard final boss. But the game is gorgeous. Even the fact that it was on the GameCube, how gorgeous this game was. The environments were beautiful. The music was ambient. The boss battles are actually pretty cool. I will say this. They did some really good music for the boss battles. My favorite boss battle music is Clyde's. Because it's definitely just out of nowhere how they went with Clyde. Clyde is the red ghost. And I remember, I think initially they switched names of the red and the orange ghost. But Blinky and Pinky have this... Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde have the same mechanical machine. Hers is covered in ice, but you have to rev rove onto springs and stuff, and then you bounce on her head where the cockpit is, and then that does her damage. Blinky's is in the woods, and you have to rev rove into the machine to knock him out. You also have to do the rev rove into the machine thing with Inky, who's using a mechanical frog in his boss battle. And then Clyde is literally over the top of a volcano, and you have to rev rove into the top of the machine and cause him damage. And then they fight you in a submarine when you're in the underwater levels, which is really cool. It's like a 4-way shootout, Gradius style, which was really fun. And then the final boss is Spooky, who you then become super... it's been ages since I played this game. But Super Pac-Man, and then you take him on And you use the power of the golden fruit to seal him back under the tree again, or I think you destroy him. It's very, very climactic, but it's very, very cool. And the areas themselves are amazing. The game itself is full of various puzzles, 3D variants of Pac-Man levels that are in that game. The environments are gorgeous. They're just so beautiful. If you ever get the chance to play Pac-Man World 2 Pack, please do because they're even more gorgeous. And then the DLC packs are what really sell it. So Pac-Man gets various costumes. He's gonna have various abilities. And one of them is Sonic the Hedgehog. He's gonna be going through Green Hill, where I guess the Ghost and Eggman team up to try to take out Sonic and Pac-Man. And then Pac-Man and Sonic team up, and then they had like this really cool mini adventure. And then like you get a Pac-Man skin. I wouldn't be surprised if like Sonic became playable in Pac-Man, and then Pac-Man joined Sonic and Sonic Racing Crossworlds because the DLC pack for Sonic Racing Crossworlds did confirm Mega Man. I mean, in Pac-Man in the game. Not to mention he's also hanging out with SpongeBob, like a Dragon, the Yakuza series, Persona 5's Joker, Hatsune Miku. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mario Kart World. You may be a staple because you're a Mario Kart series, but Sonic is over here having like the Smash Brothers equivalent of a crossover, and it's bananas. Many people are speculating they cannot wait to see what the additional characters will be in the game because a lot of people. Hold on, I'm going to turn this back up. Yeah, because a lot of people are wanting to see what other additional things they're going to be bringing to the table when it comes to Sonic Racing Crossroads. Because Sonic Racing Crossroads, even though it's been out for the last few days, has been getting spectacular reviews. 8.5, 9. I haven't seen any 10s, but I have seen like 9.5. These are ranging from 8.5 to 9.5. As much as I see. The game is gorgeous. I played the game's beta testing, the demo as well. And for what I said about beta testing was the open world testing that allowed us to play a lot of the characters for like the Labor Day weekend. And it was really, really fun to play. I got to experience everything that the game had to offer. The multiplayer is fine. There is cross-play, so you can play other people on other consoles. They had the little icons to show you it, of which console your friends are playing. Your friends or people online are playing on. They had the PlayStation controller for those who are playing on PlayStation. The Switch logo for those who are playing on the Switch or Switch 2. I think the Switch 2 one had the 2 next to it. Those that are playing on Xbox, it had the Xbox controller. Those that are playing on Steam, it had the Steam logo. So it's a really, really amazing game, and I love how much work they put into it. And I really can't wait to see. Now, the only thing is that the game on its basis is $60, but with the DLC packs, it's a total of $20 in total. But you do get a lot of freebies. You get Joker, you get Beware Hog Sonic, you get Hatsune Miku, you get basically access to everything in the game as well. So you can, decorate things and stuff. And the winning, the tickets is not hard. It's not Crash Bandicoot levels of difficulty. You just simply go through the race, you get tickets, you save up your tickets, and you get all this amazing decals and stuff for it. Your characters are not locked behind the things as far as I know, but from what everyone has told me, it's really easy to unlock characters, and it's really, really fun seeing the interactions. Because yeah, spoilers, I have seen the interactions online, but not too much spoilers because even Sonic Team has been spoiling a lot of the interactions between the characters. The only thing is that they said it was difficult to get a lot of characters' voice because of the copyrights and VAs and all of that. So some characters like SpongeBob, Patrick, and them are going to be very silent so far when they come out. The only one I know is vocal is Miku. That's because Sega still owns everything attached to the Vocaloid. So outside of that, maybe Kiryu from Like a Dragon will talk. Maybe Joker from Persona if Atlas doesn't want to. If Atlas wants to play fair. I really just want to see what other additional stuff they'll bring to the table because this is Sonic. Sonic's doing Mario levels of crossovers. Even Mega Man who was announced later on. We did not expect Mega Man. And then they also made like a Nicktoons lineup of things too, because Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming. Oh, Minecraft is going to be in there because Steve and Alex from Minecraft are going to be there. Oh, and I think the Underling, not the Underling, the zombie and the Enderman are going to be in it too. So yeah, this is going to be a really telling racing game with a lot of racing characters. But I really love the customizations. So everyone already said that. I love how the customizations look. You get auras attached to your characters and their cars. You get to customize the cars with different colors, different layouts. Oh, it's a very amazing. It's something that I kind of wanted Mario Kart to do, but it just never really pushed that envelope. And speaking of Mario Kart World did get an update fixing a couple of issues. Besides the minor bugs and fixes there, um, you can now join your friends in online with Knockout Kart. There was the races. If you can play your full actual course races without having to do the whole trail to this location thing if you don't want to do that. And there's also some other the bugs and stuff were fixed up as well, but I don't know what the bugs and stuff were. I just not purchase the Switch 2 because I've been told that no, there's not anything really big that you need to go running by the Switch 2 for. So you should be perfectly fine. And aside of Mario Kart, I don't play Donkey Kong, so Bonanza doesn't really seem too interesting for me right now. Um, I might pick up Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I still have not played Remake, Integrate, or Rebirth. So maybe off the chances I pick it up maybe next year, my idea is to go ahead and pick up a Switch 2 to then play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Remake, a remake, integrate, and rebirth, so that I can have the full experience of Final Fantasy under my belt with Final Fantasy VII. I still have not played the original Final Fantasy VII, despite the fact that I bought it on Switch. I have a couple of Final Fantasy games on my Switch now as well. Final Fantasy VI, because I love FF6, so I did get the Pixel Remaster, and then I bought Final Fantasy 7, 9, and 12. And I bought 12 because, well, everyone knows 12 was my first major Final Fantasy game. Then it was 6 years later. I did play 3 and I did play 4. I just didn't really fall in love with those games like everyone else did. So I decided to just play the other versions of them. I do want to go back to play 3, but I want to play 3 from like the DS version of it. And I've been told to stay away from the DS version of 4 because the DS version of 4 is a lot more difficult and some of the bosses had upgrades. So maybe if I get the chance to play 4 for the Game Boy Advance, because there's a Game Boy Advance version of 4, then I'll play it. I'm not interested in 5. I'm not interested in 8. So there's no need for me to pick up any of those. I have played FF1 both on the Game Boy Advance and the iOS and Android version. Same thing with iOS Android version of 6 and the Game Boy Advance version of 6. I finally did, many of you know I did play it on stream. So I did beat Final Fantasy 6 on stream. And then I got to play the Pixel Remaster, and then I got to play it again on my phone for iOS and Android version, which I will be the first one and probably the odd man out to say it. I love how Final Fantasy 6 looks like on iOS and Android. It looks very beautiful. I do agree that yes, the character sprites could have had some work done, and that the enemy sprites looking more polished than the character sprites is a bit jarring. But for the most part, no, I still enjoy what was given to me as a Final Fantasy 6 fan. So I guess the real hate is because they didn't get the PSP treatment like FF1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, FF1 through 4 got the PSP treatment. 5 and 6 didn't. They just went straight to Android and iOS. Some people were even trying to, telling Square they wanted to see it get the Octopath Traveler treatment, which actually, funny enough, Celeste, Setzer, and Realm are going to be featured in DLC for one of the Octopath Traveler games, and that they're going to be playable characters from DLC that's going to be coming out soon. So if you're a fan of Final Fantasy VI and you are a fan of Octopath Traveler, Realm, Celeste, and Setzer will be playable in those games. They have their own bit of scenarios that you'll interact with, and then you can play against. You can play. You can help them complete their missions, and I believe once you've completed those missions, then you're able to interact with them and have them in your party as playable characters. Which that sounds like fun, doesn't it? I think honestly that would be a really cool piece to have in Final Fantasy, or at least in just Octopath Traveler, having that connection, because that's what people wanted. Was when Octopath Traveler came out, a lot of fans of Final Fantasy were saying, "Wow, Square, why didn't you give 6 and 5 this treatment? Since you gave so much treatment to FF1, FF7 gets the biggest treatment out of all of them, and that's simply just because of how internationally known FF7 is. But I do agree. I feel like 7, is just the poster child. Why not give the other games in the franchise some love? And even with the Pixel Remaster didn't fix all the issues that FF1, 2, 3, and 4 had. It fixed some of 6's, 5's, but even then it was just like, things could have definitely been fixed and been a lot better. So, yeah, that was that rant there. There was a couple of other, small announcements, but they're just, things coming out later on. We haven't heard nothing from Dread, so Dread fans, if you're looking for Dread news, we haven't heard nothing yet. Legends ZA had some more drops, information about the Mega Evolutions for Mega Chestnut, Mega Delphox, and Mega Greninja, which, in my personal opinion, they all look great. I'm just really more happy that Gen 6's Megas finally got it, because how did you introduce the concept of Mega Evolution and then never gave the starter Pokemon in that generation Megas, but you gave Gen 3 starters Mega Evolutions? And even crazier, remember, Generation 4, Cynthia has a Garchomp that can Mega Evolve, and they never take up to that, which is so crazy. When you went back to Gen 4, having the stuff from Gen 7, you just didn't think to let's drop Mega Evolution in Gen 4? Because, what was it? Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu had Mega Evolution. You literally flat out just gave the trainer a Mega Stone and said, here you go, Mega Evolve them. Because almost every Kanto Pokemon that had a Mega Evolution was able to Mega Evolve. Which was all 3 of the Kanto starters, the additional Mega Stone, because there's 2 Mega Charizards, Mega Alakazam, Mega Gengar, because they're Mega forms, Mega Kangaskhan, because Kangaskhan had a Mega. There's Mega, no, I know Onyx and them don't have one. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Oh, Mega Slowbro, because Slowbro has a Mega Evolution. There's, no, you don't evolve yet. Oh, I'm sorry, because I'm blanking on who has a Mega, who does. Oh, Mewtwo, because Mewtwo has Mewtwo X and Mewtwo Y. There's Gyarados and its Mega Evolution. Because some of the gym leaders don't have Mega Evolved Pokemon. Some of them, unfortunately, because of the limitations of Generation 1, they don't have Mega forms. And so they had to pull from the other Pokemon that can Mega Evolve in Generation 1. And it's not too many because the pool is very much low. Mega Aerodactyl, because Aerodactyl has a Mega Evolution. I don't think anyone on Giovanni's team got a Mega, unfortunately. So no Mega Nidoking or Queen. They're, yeah, because there's not too many Megas off the top of my head that I can think of from Generation 1, unfortunately. And that also left a very small pool. So they did at least try to throw in the Alolan Pokemon, so Raticate, Marowak and stuff. That also did help out with Lorelei and Agatha to have additional Pokemon of the Ice type, because Gen 1 does not have a strong Ice type lead or Ghost lead when it comes to it. So Agatha got Mega got Alolan Marowak to fit her ghost aesthetic, and um, not Mega, but Alolan Sandslash and Ninetales did join our girl Lorelai for her Ice type Pokemon, so she could have more Ice types on her team. Because Slowbro isn't an Ice type, and the only reason why Slowbro was there was because Gen 1 was literally low on Ice type Pokemon they could give her. Because they couldn't give her Articuno, because Articuno is a legendary. Kind of the same thing they did in terms of, like, was it not Blaine, but Blaine too. Blaine, there weren't too many fire types in Gen 1, so all they did was really stick him with the fire type lines of here's Arcanine, here's Rapidash, oh Magmar, I guess, and then mind you, they only gave him Magmar in yellow and onward, because Magmortar became his ace. Then it went back to Rapidash, and then it was back to Magmortar by Gen 5. And then in the Let's Go Eevee Pikachu games, I believe it was giving him Arcanine, Ninetales, I want to say a Charmeleon, and a Magmar. Because, oh yeah, we can't give you Moltres because that's a legendary fire type. So, we kind of got to figure out how we're going to do this again. Because I don't believe there's any Alolan fire type Pokemon variants from Kanto outside of Alolan Marowak, which they ended up giving to Agatha. So, yeah. So, having an actual ghost type in the game to give her some coverage. And there was also Mina from Gen 7 that made her appearance in Kanto. Like, you get to have a battle with her, and she has a Jigglypuff and a Clefairy, which is funny because in her child team in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, when you battle her, she has Clefable and Wigglytuff on her team. And she talks about how she visited Kanto when she was younger to see about inspirations of another region. Which also affects her team as well, because there were some Pokemon from different regions on her team that some of them were not native to Alola. Which I did like that little factor of them including some of the older stuff, or including things to process the times. If you talk to Koga in that game, Koga tells you about him wanting to become a member of the Elite Four. When you go to rematch the gym leaders in Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, yes, you can rematch the gym leaders. All 8 of the Kanto gym leaders you can rematch once a day, in a cycle of once a day in the Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu games. And they have a higher level team. They have at least 5 Pokemon on their team. And they actually have some really good lineups in their teams as well. I do appreciate that. A lot of them also give you some mindset to what they're looking forward to doing when they, talk about Johto and stuff like that. Because while Johto cannot be accessed in the Let's Go games, some of the gym leaders talk about the things that are going on that they want to endeavor. Like, for instance, Koga wants to become a member of the Elite Four. He does in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver, where he is recognized as the newest member of one of the newer members of the Elite Four. And his team got a major change up from what it was in Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, in Yellow version, because they give him Tentacruel, Golbat, Wheezing, Coughing, and I think an Arbok as well. So they give him some variety in terms of poison Pokemon, which is really good, alongside the fact that I think he also has a Venomoth too, which I think is funny because they took Venomoth off of Sabrina's team and gave her Executor, Jinx, Mr. Mime, and Alakazam, which was really good because of the range of Psychic types that were in Generation 1 that just did not get a lot of love. Essentially Executor, which you would have thought they would have put on Erica's team, but no. For Erica, I believe they gave her Victory Bell, Vileplume, Tangela, with a better moveset. I forget what the grass type they gave her. They gave her a Venusaur too. And then they gave her another Pokemon. I was very shocked about the Ivysaur thing in the gym leader battle. I was like, oh no, this makes sense because Erica being the grass type gym leader, why not have a poison type on your team? Because most people would think, oh, you hear grass type gym leader, you would think they would have a grass type Pokemon. Because Erica's also one of those gym leaders in the Pokemon series that her Pokemon changes depending on the region. Where Erica goes for Victory Bell, no, goes for Vileplume, then she's back to Bloom, then she goes to Blossom in Gen 2, then in Gen Three's remake, it's Vileplume again. And then she goes to Tangrowth in Gen 4. And then she's back to Blossom in Gen 5. And then now she's back to Vileplume as her ace in this game. Which I think is really cool. But also rocking a Mega Evolution in the forms of Mega Venusaur to combat a lot of problems dealing with psychic types and stuff like that. So it's still a pretty amazing lineup. It's just that it isn't a. I know when people say they want a remake and they want things changed, gym leader rematches are definitely one thing I hear a lot of people, including myself, talk about. But we want a more diverse team so that the teams don't look so played out. And because of how weird Generation 1 is, there had to be a lot of changes for Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. One, to make it easier for the new kids coming into Pokemon to have that lineup, but also just to mellow out things as well, so that it's not too overbearing. They even had a two-player mode where people could play Pokemon with each two-player, and like there'll be double battles and stuff, and then you guys can take on the Pokemon battles as well. And I do like the Let's Go mechanic we introduced isn't too bad because we got raid battles and stuff like that. But I thought they could have tried a little harder, and I do appreciate them at least trying. Because one of the big factors was that, Sabrina was still overpowered in Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, because now with the physical specialist split, she can change up her team to fit any of those issues that she would have. For instance, she now has to deal with Alolan Muck, Alolan Raticate, and even Alolan Marowak, because these are not dual types that she could easily handle because of Dark typing. However, Dazzling Gleam is still a TM in that game. So of course, Miss Sabrina teaches some of her Pokemon Dazzling Gleam to help her deal with a lot of those Pokemon that are pure Dark or dual Dark type. The only issue she had to deal with was, of course, poison from Muck. But then again, she found ways like Miracle Eye, and then giving elemental abilities on attacks on top of her Pokemon. I also think she's rocking a lot more psychics in her matchup too. Hypno is someone that they added to her too. Because here's the thing, Sabrina's the only psychic gym leader in Kanto. So even moving her up to maybe fit in will, it would be easier because of the game community. She doesn't have access to her Espeon because it's still Gen 1. So she has Hypno, she has Jinx, Alakazam, Mr. Mime, Executor, in her lineup. So I'm trying to remember what the psychic types are. Which is like, I did mention Jinx. A lot of range of psychic types Gen 1 does have to offer outside of the Gen 2. So you really do have to play all of those. And even Birth did so. Remember, there were ghost types in her gym because the channelers were like, oh, we have a secret to being Sabrina. What's that? Ghost type. 15 minutes later, how's that working for you? Not too well. She birthed through half my team because how those types in Kanto are still ghost poison. So unlike that, Marowak had an easier time because Fire Ghost is a lot different than Ghost Poison and having to deal with that issue. So shout outs to them for fixing that issue, but also a little bit, bittersweet with that. It's up to her. So, made a range of things there, and then, in the gym, like I said, the gym leader rematch just weren't too bad. It's just that a lot of repeats had to happen because of the limitations of the Pokédex. I think outside of maybe Misty, Brock, Search was difficult because of the evolution lines there. But Erica, But yeah, Erica, Misty, Rock, and Sabrina probably had it easier in terms of the Pokemon that they can encounter, which I feel like was fair. But you know how it goes sometimes with these things. Then let's move on into some other things. Let's talk about Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon. I'll start off with the easiest one, and that's Digimon. As Mastemon support has been poured out this week, we got the All Art of Mastemon from BT23, and she looks absolutely gorgeous. We also have Angelmon and Lady Devimon, which basically just looks like EX6 variants of themselves, but with different corresponding abilities. Angelmon has a replacement set up for security if there's 3 or less recovery +1. And then Lady Debbie has the ability to be a blocker. On top of that, the inheritables are still the same from EX6. Angelmon has Alliance, and Lady Debbie has Scapegoat, which aren't bad abilities either. And if you work with them precisely, then you'll be pretty much fine and set with the game and how you want to fluctuate things going forward. I personally am happy about those. I think BT23 is going to have a good wave of things. I'll be looking forward to participating in some BT23 things. And if I don't get all my cards, of course, I can just, get it online and then just have it shipped to me. Which hopefully, this time around when I have cards shipped to me, there won't be an issue. I'm actually still waiting for some cards to be shipped to me. And I'm still having some issues with my delivery service. I don't know why. I gave the precise address to TCG Player, so now TCG Player is having issues. It's having issues for those who are trying to send me cards. So, yeah, it's just been hellhole. Then from there, let's talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Doom of the Dimensions is already out. I am looking forward to getting the new Psychic cards from that, and then getting more of the psychic stuff there. But then we also got to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis, and I know a lot of you are waiting for me to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis. Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis is a new format that Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is creating. I did post a video on that if you guys would like to see it. But the gist of it is that people are asking, the questions of what decks are working. And Konami themselves even went online to ask people, hey, if you're going to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis format, can you guys, show off some deck lists and deck profiles and stuff like that, so that we can see how things need to be calibrated, because I think they're still concerned about, the cards and everything that people are going to be playing. But this is the format that you guys chose to put some focus on, and a lot of people were, really enjoying Time Wizard format and focusing on Edison and stuff. I think there's more formats in Yu-Gi-Oh! Than just Edison and GOAT format. Even Hat at a point, I feel like, was kind of stretching it, but this is what Yu-Gi Boomers wanted. They wanted to play those older formats, and this is what some of the people who watch my channel wanted, so I did give them, a deck profile for those. Was it the best that I could give? Not really, but it was my honestly mine, and I think that's what all should have mattered. Then on top of it, just the whole lineup of things that were following through, I think honestly just kind of tore everything else apart, because we're dealing with Yu-Gi-Oh! And how WTF moment Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been since Konami wanted to cut their ties with the Time Wizard formats, which is basically them saying, we want to give you guys all these new cards, give you guys these reprints, but we don't want our judges to have to stress themselves out because of the modern format already stressing them out with the solitaire situations that they're doing. And then on top of that, remember, they just had a whole change up for their ban and restriction list for Edison. Well, they had a whole change up for the list on Genesis format, to where it's now approximately 530 cards, I counted, being added to being moved around Genesis format. And do I think with more cards will join on that list? Yes, I do. And for those who are asking the question of, is Genesis format getting inspiration for something else? Yeah, actually, it was a way Yu-Gi-Oh wanted to conduct things originally, where there was a deck point system, and that you had a max capacity of things. Your cards in the deck that weren't like super expensive or the super powerful cards, they were going like staples basically. Staple cards, god cards, and specific cards like that, the 1800 beat sticks, the 1900 beat sticks, all of that. They were going to have their own card numbers and stuff, and then players would have to memorize everything and remember that this deck and that deck had a certain limit. And that's kind of what they were going for in the video games as well. The video games were definitely where they did a lot of that testing, where decks had to be had a certain deck level and capacity. Certain cards had a capacity as well, so you couldn't play over a certain limit. And then even on top of that, you still had to process the deck and everything and make sure things were working. And cards that you did not think were going to be viable were going to be viable. Cards that you think were not going to be usable were usable. And cards that you still have never seen the light of day are still not going to see the light of day in the TCG or OCG, because they'd have to do so many different fixes to them to get them into things like Bear Trap, which is probably called Bear Trap Trap Hole, Invisible Wire, which is probably called Invisible Wire Trap Hole, and then was just like House of Adhesive Tape, Eat a Boon, and other various cards that were just very much more useful in the video games than they were IRL. Then just the number of cards that are on this list and how broken things have gotten. A lot of people are complaining, you have really powerful cards that are kicked around main characters, lockdowns, and stuff like that. And it's just like, alright, fine. You want to throw some of the archetypes of bone? Do that. You want to make the game more playable for other characters? For people who are returning? Go right ahead. But make it cohesive, make it coherent, and then does everything need to have the most oddest combo of numbers? I've seen 3s, 7s, 8s, and 9s. I guess they really did want to take inspiration from their previous video games. And from what the Konami website did talk about, was they were talking about this format for the last couple of months and wanting to implement it as well. No pin, no pendulum, no link monsters, just rituals, exceeds, fusions, and everything in the deck that focuses on them. It does kind of suck because there are a lot of archetypes that were from the link format that just will not work. Maybe some of their secluded stuff would work because there are some of them who have synchros, exceeds, synchros, exceeds, and fusions. But I don't see a big longevity overall. I just see a lot of, fingers crossed, hope to die, hope things work out, that type of situation. And I feel like Konami definitely needs to sit down once again and look at the drawing board and try to figure out where they're going to, have things conspire and have them work. But it is a good try, and it's an overall good thing to really say, hey, at least they're working on it and they want to be consistent with it. But I feel like this also is just a big FU to Time Wizard format and how well Time Wizard format was still putting money in their pocket. Just that their judges are lazy and can't comprehend anything. And then using the excuse of the problem-solving text really did not help out, because if these are formats that are supposed to be reflecting on the older cards, then it needs to reflect the older cards. Especially for that format that you're playing in. Otherwise, you should have just said, we're no longer doing Edison. The Time Wizard format with Edison and Goat, but then that even caused more problems, which it did. And then you fired the guy who was working in your department at the headquarters, and then he just started spilling tea all over. Like, you guys didn't care. You wanted to, get rid of Time Wizard format anyway. Then you wanted to rip OTS stores for those who were supporting the players and strip them of their OTSs. Like, Konami was being very Nintendo about some of this situation. And it was very disgusting to see. So, yeah. It kind of just, falls into the line of things really suck and become it is what it is situations But I loved how the Yu-Gi-Oh community banded together and said we weren't taking their shit. So that even more was a nice thing to see. Is there any plans in futures of me doing deck profiles for Genesis format? There are, but I will tell you this: it's going to be very difficult because I have to rely on limitations of things, and since the cap is 100, and well, most cards that I run in my deck happen to have some numbers on them, it's going to be very, very difficult, which means I'm not going to be able to run multiple feather storms. I may not have to run feather storm at all and just, survive the pantry and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a lot. It sure is. And I cannot wait to see what the final outcome of it will all be. So, that's going to wrap up today's podcast. It's short, it's sweet, but I think giving my podcast an hour or so is more than enough content to be given. Before I wrap up, I'll just give you guys just some heads up on things if I haven't already. I have dental work being done. Deco files and stuff are going to be slow for the time being, so I can have focus on that. I may not do an actual deck profile of Genesis format for Harpie. I'll probably just point out, here and there cards, and then you guys can take it from there. Digimon stuff outside of EX, because I have no interest in EX10, the Sinister Shadow. I am going to look into Hacker Slumber because of the Master Daemon stuff, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. So yeah, just a brief summary of things, and then of course the video games that I'll be getting are Pac-Man World 2 Repack, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and possibly Mario Galaxy 2. If that's still something in my hand. I want to get the Euphoria game as well for the Switch since it's only like $15. It might even be on sale by the time the 15th comes, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This is Spyro music from the Spyro Reignited trilogy with some rain effects going on in the background for relaxing, sleeping, and even studying. And it actually is kind of making me a little sleepy too. But I love ambient music like that. So, with that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel as it helps out tremendously. Hit the notification bell to be informed of when more content is being uploaded. Socials are in the description box below. And with that said, HPJ signing out. Take care. Bye-bye.